to call to the honourable member for Fremantle.
Thank you, Speaker. On 15 October this year, we'll mark the 70th anniversary of the first onshore detonation of a nuclear weapon in Australia. That test, called Totem 1 at Emu Field in South Australia, was of a 10-kiloton bomb. In the following years, there were 7 further nuclear detonations at Maralinga and 2 at the Montebello Islands off the coast of Western Australia. Several of the atomic bombs that were effectively self-inflicted on Australian soil were more powerful than the weapons that destroyed Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. On September the 27th, 1956, a 15-kiloton bomb of the type called Red Beard was exploded from the tower at Maralinga. The mushroom cloud rose 11,400 metres and radiation was detected in the Northern Territory, New South Wales and Queensland. Speaker, those tests occurred without proper parliamentary consideration or approval. They occurred with callous disregard for the rights and well-being of Aboriginal people in the APY lands, and the truth about the damage and contamination they wreaked upon community and country was hidden from the Australian public. At the time, Prime Minister Robert Menzies told Parliament that no conceivable injury to life, men or property could emerge from the tests. What a ridiculous and baseless thing to have said. The truth is that Maralinga today is one of the most toxic places on planet Earth. In 2021, a Monash University study found that despite numerous multi-million-dollar cleanups, the presence of residual hot particles dispersed in the soil means that in 24,000 years' time, there will still be almost 2 Nagasaki bombs worth of plutonium spread around the test site. Speaker, a study in 1999 for the British nuclear test veterans found that 30% of those involved in the British nuclear tests died of cancer, most in their 50s. The outcome for Australian veterans and affected civilians has been the same: high rates of cancer, bowel disease, hip and spine deformities, miscarriages, PTSD, crippling anxiety and depression. Karina Lester's father, Yami Lester, a Yankuni Jara man, was blinded. He was 10 years old at the time of the Totem 1 test. Maxine Goodwin's father, a Royal Australian Air Force serviceman who was tasked with flying through one of the mushroom clouds, died of cancer at the age of 49. Douglas Brooks was made to stand in the blinding flash and blast wave of one of the Montebello tests as an 18-year-old on HMS Alert, has an untreatable bone disease and PTSD to this day. June Lennon was just 4 months old when her sister hid her from the aftermath of a nuclear explosion under a tarpaulin as the black mist rolled through. Speaker, Karina, Maxine, Douglas and June, who are here, have been in the Parliament these last couple of days as ICAN ambassadors and atomic survivors. Their message is a clear one: never again. Nuclear weapons are wrong and unacceptable. They shouldn't exist, they shouldn't be tested, they can never be used. But we can't just say these words. We must keep finding ways to change the status quo, because the status quo is a drift towards the increasing likelihood that nuclear weapons will be used again. The sharp lesson of the British nuclear tests is that we should never accept the bland assurances that nuclear technology is safe. Speaker, as the convener of the Parliamentary Friends of the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, it was a privilege that we could host and hear from Karina, Maxine, Douglas and June this week. It takes incredible courage and fortitude to tell their stories, which are understandably drenched in pain. But they're determined that Australians should understand the truth. We've already experienced the self-inflicted harm of nuclear weapons in this country, and of course we exist in a region that was wrongly and immorally used as a testing ground for other countries' worst and darkest weapons. Speaker, there is strong support in the Australian community for signing and ratifying the Nuclear Weapons Ban Treaty, and there is strong support in this Parliament. Indeed, 108 parliamentarians have signed the ICAN pledge. It was a remarkable achievement against the grain, against the cynical status quo, to see the treaty come into force, and that occurred in no small part thanks to the international campaign to abolish nuclear weapons, or ICAN, which began life here in Australia. Speaker, Australia should sign and ratify the TPNW and join the 68 nations that are already state parties to the treaty. Once upon a time, people doubted it would be possible to ban mining in Antarctica, but Australia believed it could be done, and that's what happened. People questioned whether Australia could be part of the convention that bans cluster munitions because of our alliance relationships, but we were one of the first countries to sign that treaty in 2008. Speaker, if we can't find the resolve to be part of new and even radical global cooperation to shift the dial on nuclear weapons, we can only expect that nothing will change, and we simply cannot allow that to be the case.
It being 5 p.m, the